Ever find yourself rushing through life, like totally preoccupied with your own little world, focused on your to-do list and all
Oh,
that?
yeah, definitely.
Barely noticing the people around you.
Uh,
It's easy to do, right? Well, that's kind of what we're doing today.
Okay.
We're diving deep into a world that often goes unnoticed. The surprisingly complex job of a locker room attendant.
It's funny you mention that because there are often unseen locker room attendants interact with hundreds, sometimes thousands of people a day.
Yeah.
It's a role that demands a fascinating set of skills.
Way more than meets the eye, right?
Absolutely.
We've got excerpts from RoleCatcher's career guide for this deep dive,
Okay.
and it's seriously packed with insights. They even have AI-powered interview prep specifically for this role,
Wow.
which we're going to get into a little bit later. But first, let's start with the basics. What does a locker room attendant actually do?
Well, on the surface, it seems pretty straightforward. You're keeping things clean and organized. But then when you think about the sheer volume of stuff that they're handling, towels, equipment, personal belongings, it's clear that logistical mastery is a must.
Yeah, and it's not just, like you said, towels and treadmills, right?
Yeah.
It's people.
It is.
RoleCatcher really emphasizes that customer service aspect.
Absolutely. Think about it. You're dealing with people from all walks of life, often in a very high-stress environment. Somebody might have just had like the worst work out of their life or lost their keys or had a frustrating encounter, out on the court or something. The locker room attendant is often the first point of contact.
Oh, totally, yeah.
And that's where all those soft skills really come into play.
Right.
RoleCatcher actually gives a great example in the guide. Imagine a situation where two people are arguing over a locker.
Oh, yeah.
Pretty common occurrence.
Oh, totally. Especially during peak hours. Everybody's trying to get in and out quickly.
Exactly. So you've got these two people, tensions are high. And it's up to the locker room attendant to kind of diffuse the situation.
Oh, wow.
Not by flexing any authority, because they don't really have that, but just by being like a calm and resourceful presence.
So conflict resolution is actually like in the job description. It really makes you realize what kind of pressure they're under dealing with these like micro dramas all day long.
And doing it with a smile, ideally. Remember, they're the face of the facility for a lot of people. But here's where it gets even more interesting. RoleCatcher points out that the sports and entertainment industries are evolving very rapidly.
Okay, so we're not just talking about your local gym anymore. Like, what kind of places are we talking about?
Think like high-end fitness studios,
Right.
Massive sports complexes, maybe even concert venues, esports arenas.
Okay, now those sound like places where things could get really interesting in the locker room.
Exactly. And the role of the attendant has to adapt too. They might be using like new technology to manage bookings, handle payments, track equipment. It's a whole other level of responsibility.
It's like being an air traffic controller of a very sweaty, high-energy environment.
That's a great way to put it.
Yeah.
And it's not just about managing chaos. It's about providing a certain level of service.
Yeah.
We're seeing this growing demand for personalized experiences, even in these shared spaces.
Which kind of brings us to the really futuristic part of this whole deep dive, which is the AI angle. I was so surprised when I saw that RoleCatcher has AI-powered interview prep, specifically for locker room attendants.
Oh, I know, right?
It sounds crazy at first,
It does.
but when you think about it, it kind of makes sense.
It does.
So how does it work?
Okay, so it's not like the AI is secretly judging your towel folding technique or anything.
Okay.
It's actually much more sophisticated than that. What RoleCatcher's AI does is it analyzes thousands of job descriptions and resumes to like really understand the specific skills and experience that employers are looking for, even in roles that we might not think of as traditionally, tech savvy.
So it's like having a super-powered career coach in your pocket, telling you exactly what to highlight to stand out from the crowd.
Exactly. And it's not even just about keywords. It's about identifying these like hidden strengths that might not be obvious at first glance. For example, the AI might pick up on your experience handling difficult customers in a fast-paced environment, which is, gold for a locker room attendant.
Oh, yeah, for sure. That's incredible. It makes you wonder what other hidden skills we all have that we don't even realize are valuable in the job market.
It really does. And that's the really cool thing about what RoleCatcher is doing here. They're kind of democratizing access to this career intelligence, making it available to everybody, not just people in certain industries or with certain backgrounds.
It's a good reminder that there's always more to learn, and that technology can be this really powerful tool for self-discovery, even when it comes to like our careers. But before we get too carried away with the future of work, let's go back to the present for a moment.
Right.
What's like the most important takeaway for somebody listening to this who might be considering a career as a locker room attendant? What's like the most important takeaway for somebody listening to this who might be considering a career as a locker room attendant?
I'd say don't underestimate yourself.
Mm-hmm.
This might not be a role that always gets like a ton of recognition, but it really does require this unique blend of, practical skills and interpersonal finesse. You're not just like cleaning and tidying up after people. You're creating a positive and welcoming atmosphere for everyone.
Yeah, it's almost like being a host of like a
Yeah.
really active party.
You know,
Except you're also responsible for making sure no one loses their car keys in the punch bowl.
exactly. And that takes a special kind of talent. So if you're listening and you're somebody who thrives in a fast-paced environment, you enjoy interacting with people, and you take pride in creating a positive experience, this could be a really surprisingly rewarding career path for you.
Especially with those soft skills being so valuable in today's job market.
Yeah.
RoleCatcher really highlights that.
Yeah.
Like whether you're aiming for like a management position someday or just starting out, those abilities to communicate effectively, to problem solve on the fly, to stay cool under pressure, that's what helps you stand out.
It's not even just about what you know anymore. It's about how you navigate the world and how you interact with other people.
Yeah.
And those are skills that you can really develop and refine in any role, even one that starts in the locker room.
So to bring this all back to our listener,
Yeah.
who might be thinking, okay, this is all very fascinating, but like, what does it mean for me? What's like one lasting thought they can take away from this deep dive?
I'd say never stop exploring, whether it's a new career path, a new skill, a new way to leverage technology, like with these AI tools that RoleCatcher is developing. There's a whole world of possibilities out there, and you just never know what hidden talents you might discover about yourself along the way.
That's a great way to put it. It's a great reminder that learning and growth never really stop, and that sometimes those most unexpected paths can actually lead to the most rewarding destinations.
I completely agree.
Well, that was really eye-opening. A huge thanks to RoleCatcher for giving us a glimpse into this surprisingly complex and essential role. Who knew there was so much more to it than met the eye?
Yeah, it's really interesting.
And for our listeners, remember the next time you find yourself in a locker room, take a moment to appreciate those unseen hands that are keeping things running smoothly. You might just be surprised by the skills and dedication they bring to the job.
You're here.
And on that note, we'll wrap up this deep dive. Until next time, keep exploring, keep learning, and we'll catch you in the next episode.